Alright, welcome back to another episode of Trash Talk Podcast. It's Saturday night. We are live in the office recording the podcast for you to enjoy on your Saturday night or whenever you're gonna watch it, because it's on the internet and it's available 24/7 on YouTube. That's the beauty of digital mass media. How are you doing, JJ?
I'm doing fine.
And how do you feel about a quiz?
Oh god, I already know what it's about, so I'm not really that good.
But you don't know how I constructed it.
No, I don't, and that just makes me more afraid of
Here's
it.
the thing, it's a football quiz, right? But it's not a quiz about, how much have you remembered from last year, like who's Aaron Rodgers and stuff like that, right? It's a quiz about football.
He's the quarterback for the Green Bay Packers.
That is correct. It is who's the quarterback for the Saints, man?
That's Drew Brees.
That is Drew Brees. That's for another time again. But today is going to be about football lingo. I'm going to give you some...
That's even worse!
No, I'm going to give you some phrases from football that none other than the real football expert would know all of those. Really,
and then I have to guess. We've done something like this before.
Yeah, and you can just... Yeah, we've done something like that. And you can just...
I had to guess what the butt fumble was.
Yeah, the butt fumble. Stuff like that.
That's the only one I remember from that.
Exactly.
Oh, no, wait. There was also something about the whole, halfback and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
But
that was position, right?
Yeah.
But today it's just gonna be it's gonna be phrases. Like sometimes there are euphemisms as well for stuff that happens or is associated with football, and you can just guess what it means.
Yes.
So you don't have to I'm not expecting you to know any of that. But we'll just get into it just for an example. Here's the first one. What does it mean to break someone's ankles?
Well, I mean, the most obvious thing would
aside from the literal meaning
to break someone's ankles. However, I suppose that is not what we're going for. Is that when you tackle someone really low?
When you break someone's ankles, it means that usually when a ball carrier and a tackler meet in the open field, and the ball carrier puts a sick move on him, a sick juke, so the other person falls to the ground trying to tackle him.
Okay.
Spins him around, say you run one side and he's pursuing and you jump the other way, and you're breaking his ankles because you're twisting his legs up. You're running circles around him, essentially. That's what I mean when you're breaking someone's ankles. Or it could also be a receiver running a route and getting loose of his corner. So, running a crazy route with crazy cuts. So, he's breaking someone's ankles. Next one will be, these are roughly sorted by difficulty, by the way. So, we're going easiest to hardest.
Oh, God.
Or most intuitive to least intuitive. Somewhat. Next one
the explanation makes sense, but it's still nothing you can easily guess.
I know, it's not. It's not supposed to be. The next one is to split the uprights. What does it mean when you split the uprights?
Well, I'm not even sure what the uprights refers to, but I assume maybe that's if you're going through a line of people that are standing upright and maybe making them drop in the way. I don't know.
So, very simple, actually. Splitting the uprights means to make a field goal. To kick it, and it's good.
Oh, because it's splitting in between the upright part.
The upper goalpost. So if you split,
the idea of going between things that are upright was there.
Yeah. So they're kicking the field goal, and it's good. He split the uprights. That's all that means. Next one, and you might actually have heard this one, is to move the sticks.
I have not heard that one.
You have not heard.
Well, at least not in any type of context that way.
Yeah.
I've heard in context of firewood.
Yes.
In which case it just means moving sticks.
I was probably there. I might have been moving the sticks.
Well, let's think.
Take a guess.
What could be considered sticks on a football field?
Mm-hmm.
Wait. Isn't there such a thing as a stick route?
There is such a thing as a stick route. You paid very close attention to one of my videos.
Is it at all related?
That is not related.
Well, in that case, I'm just gonna guess that it's... I actually have no clue. The only thing I can think of that's kind of like a stick is the field goal, but it's probably not gonna be about that again.
So moving the sticks refers to getting a first down. Because you know how they measure downs? Is they have sticks on the sideline, right? And they'll have a big, lollipop-looking stick wherever the ball is spotted.
Right.
And you need to get 10 yards. So when you get a first down, then the whole chain crew will move that 10 yards and start off again with a ball spotted for a new 4 downs, right?
Yes.
And that's referred to as moving the sticks.
That actually makes perfect sense.
So you cross the 10 yards, you get a first down, you move the sticks.
I've seen that stick before.
Yeah, they always have them on the sidelines. Next one would be to send the house. What do you do if you are sending the house? You can also refer to it as bringing the house.
Bringing the house.
Yeah.
Sending. Okay.
They sent the house. They brought the house.
I don't know, when they put in backups because they're just sitting on the bench all day. I don't know.
So they brought him from home, and then sending the house means that a defense will bring a lot of people after the quarterback.
Oh.
So, like, for example, like 8 players from the defense right after the snap will just rush to the front and just try to sack the quarterback. Then they're sending the house. They're sending the whole house at him.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
If there's 2 of one type and 3 of the other type, it's a full house.
It's a full house. Exactly. And it might be even more than that in this case. So they just brought the house at him. Next one will be, what do you do if you are icing the kicker?
Well...
You know what the kicker is.
Yes, I know what the kicker is. He kicks balls.
How does one ice them?
Well, I mean, they're probably not stuffing ice cubes on his pants, although that would kind of be funny.
Yeah, that would be funny. To ice the kicker.
Is it when they set the ball up bad? Because someone's holding the ball, right?
Someone's holding the ball.
Is it when they just hold it bad? So they fuck over the kicker?
No, but that's actually another one that I was thinking about putting would be laces out. Because laces out means that when you're the holder, you're supposed to turn the laces away from the kicker. So he doesn't hit that. Icing the kicker actually means to call a timeout right when he's about to kick.
Oh.
So basically, he's going through his whole motion, he's focused, and then you call a timeout to basically interrupt him.
Okay.
So people like to do that at the end of games when it's a really important kick.
Yeah.
Say if it's like for a game-winning field goal or a game-tying field goal in the last second, they'll almost always, he's standing there, and then they'll call a timeout like a second before the ball is snapped. Just to throw him off a little bit.
Okay.
And that means icing the kicker. Try to, make him a bit nervous. The next one is a Hail Mary.
Well, a Hail Mary is a plan that you don't expect to succeed, but you try it anyways because you're desperate.
That is correct. And in football, it refers mainly to a very deep pass at the end of the game. I might actually have told you that before.
I didn't know that relates specifically to a pass, but it's a general term as well.
It's a specific play where you just, doesn't matter where you are, you just throw the ball as far as you can to get into the end zone.
Okay.
So say you got, that's what you remember the Super Bowl?
I do vaguely remember the Super Bowl.
So in the very last play, the Patriots were like in midfield, but they had like 7 seconds on the clock, right?
Okay.
So they just, Tom Brady just took the ball and just threw it in the end zone. Because they only had 7 seconds, so that was the only way for them to come back and win it. And just hope someone catches it.
Yes.
That's what they refer to as a Hail Mary play, because it's very unlikely to work, but it's really all you can do.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't make sense to just run for like 3 yards because the clock will run out. So you need to throw up a Hail Mary. That's actually not that old. That was invented like during about the beginning of the Super Bowl era. The Hail Mary. Next one, what?
I mean, there's only been like, 50 of those or so?
Yeah, 50, 52, 53. What happens if you are cutting on a dime? Someone cuts on a dime. Dime as in the coin.
I was about to say, considering that the coins are also for like positions, and I assume when you're cutting him, that means that you're, well, I mean, depends on which side it's referring to, either when you're attacking him or when you're just going like in front of him when you're not supposed to, when you're on the same team. I don't know.
Okay, so Dime specifically...
Is Dime a specific player?
Dime is not a player. Dime is a defensive formation.
Okay.
Just like a nickel would be. But, for example, there's a quarterback and there is a halfback. But cutting on a dime, it means something essentially completely else. It means making a cut, as in running change of direction in very small space.
Okay.
Very quickly. There is a player specifically by the name of LaShawn McCoy, whose, I think his Twitter handle is like cut on a dime or something, referring to the fact that he can change direction in space very quickly to break someone's ankles, potentially. Okay. Because you need as much space as just a dime, because a dime is very small, to make a cut. So that's what it means. So if that's very
closely...
closely...
I'm really glad that you put those in that order, otherwise I would have been confused why people are breaking each other's ankles.
Exactly. Someone just juked someone out of their socks, which is another one that I could have put instead of, breaking their ankles. They broke their ankles. He just cut on a dime and broke the defender's ankles.
Okay.
Typically also a ball carrier who would do that. The next one is mostly also used in the Madden community, but also in real football sometimes. What does it mean to scream at someone or scream in someone's face?
Well, under normal circumstances, it means to scream at someone's face.
Yes.
That's such a normal thing to say. I don't see how it could mean anything else.
It means running full speed at someone, normally a quarterback. So typically if the quarterback's in the pocket and then say a linebacker was blitzing, you know what a blitz is? When he just comes right for the quarterback right away.
Okay.
And he's going unblocked. Like he just finds a hole, just runs through it and runs full speed at the quarterback. Then he comes screaming in his face.
Okay.
Or he comes screaming off the edge. We use that in Madden a lot. If a blitz comes in really, really fast, he sent a guy coming in screaming from the edge. But in football, you can use it as well. So you're screaming in his face. Yeah, pressure, screaming in his face. Sometimes you use it. Okay, 2 more. Those are maybe the hardest ones because they're the least intuitive. Flea-Flicker. A Flea-Flicker. What is a Flea-Flicker?
Is that someone whose job it is to tackle someone really light?
Flea-Flicker? No. Flea-Flicker means it's a specific play where the quarterback hands the ball off to a running back, like it's a normal run, and then he takes 2 steps, turns around, and pitches the ball back to the quarterback again, who will then throw it forward to someone downfield.
Oh.
It's essentially the extension of a play action. Play action is when you fake a run, but the quarterback keeps it, and then throws it deep. In this case, you hand it off, and he takes 2 steps, he pitches it back. That's a Flea-Flicker, because he's flicking it back, and the ball is apparently flea.
Okay. I suppose that makes sense?
Yeah. I'll give you a bonus one before the last one. The pigskin. What's the pigskin?
That's football. The
pigskin is the football. There you go. I thought that was going to be too easy. And the gridiron?
I feel like I should know this.
Yeah, the gridiron is just the field with the grid on that. I don't know why
the iron comes in.
No clue, but it's a gridiron. And the final one, and this is one of my favorites. What does it mean to go home with the goose eggs? If you're going home from a football game with the goose eggs.
Okay, the going home refers to from a football game. I already kind of figured out. Now the question is, are the goose eggs good or bad?
That's a question. It's a good question.
I mean...
This actually can extend to every sport.
How good that I don't know any sport.
Maybe that helps you.
Yeah, I was assuming it refers to probably either winning or losing, but, I mean, goose eggs, is that a good thing? I suppose it's a good thing. Winning?
No, it's a really bad thing. It means losing without scoring a single point.
Oh.
Because when you score a single point, your scoreboard reads double zeros. And those look like eggs of geese. So if you're getting shot out, you're going home with 0 points, then you're going home with the goose eggs.
Okay.
That's what that means. Does it make sense?
It sounds good to have eggs, but sure.
Yeah, it makes sense, right?
I like eggs.
I know you do. You like goose eggs?
Not even sure I've tried.
Yeah, maybe not. So yeah, if you didn't know that, I think a lot of people didn't necessarily know that, but that's just it probably is a euphemism, but it can also be a trash talk. Like, oh, we're gonna send you home with the goose eggs today because we're gonna shut you out. So there you go. That's some football lingo for you. Hope you learned something from that. Which one's your favorite?
Oh, God, I don't even know, man.
I like the goose eggs.
I mean, most of those are kind of interesting at the very least.
You can use it in everyday speech, too. Like when you're beating someone in a game, next time we're playing cards, like we're playing to 100, you can just be like you're up 4-0 or something, you can be like, oh, I'm going to send you home with the goose eggs. Because the scoreboard's going to read double zeros.
I think last time our scoreboard read like 51-49.
51-49. That was insane. That was really good, though. That was a good statistical experiment. But that's my football quiz. Let me know in the comments if you know any other ones that are nice. And if so, then just write them down, and I'm going to have JJ try and answer the comment and see if he can get it.
Great. I'm totally looking forward to that. Oh, yeah.
It's going to be fantastic. So, that's the quiz. We have a halftime show.
We do indeed have a halftime show.
Oh, yeah. And what is it?
The idea was because in the, well, this one not too recent, but the Hearthstone in the Works article, they announced some new classic cards. And they also suggested that they might actually do more for the neutral cards, or specifically, as they said, neutral legendaries. So I thought it would be a fun idea to throw around some ideas on what you could put as an effect on a legendary minion, or I mean maybe on any card, but really. Yeah.
So in that article they mentioned 3 new classic cards which were all comparatively weak.
4?
4, sorry. Yeah, 2 mage cards, a rogue card and a warlock card.
Yes.
Which were all kind of bad. But if we're actually going to have some interesting discussion, we need to bring legends and new effects. So, do you have a specific idea, or what have you envisioned?
I didn't plan too much ahead, but I had some ideas that I just wrote down really quick. One of which I thought was fun would be to a card add as a battle cry, maybe even as a death rattle. It might be even better. Just the effect, add a random dragon aspect to your hand.
Just a dragon aspect?
Yes.
Specifically one of those?
Because that gives you a somewhat limited pool, so you can somewhat expect what you're getting. But also, except for Nosdormu, they're all good, but they're usually good because you plan around them.
Yes.
But you can't really plan around all of them that well.
Yeah. I guess the most universal one would probably be Ysera.
Yes.
Or Alex.
Well, Estrella has a nice advantage of you can either reduce your opponent's health or increase your own, depending on what kind of situation you're in. Malygos is pretty good if you have some type of damaging spell. Yeah. Especially if you can go face.
Ysera is just...
I mean, Deathwing is just... As a board laner, it works.
Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't.
So I thought that was like one of those types of things where you can have a small pool of cards. And of course, kind of in the spirit of what they did with the other cards, like adding some cool cards that are already in the game to your hand that someone might not already have in their collection for beginners, although, I mean, if you have this one legend, why would you have the other?
So there is Bone Drake, which adds a random dragon to your hand.
That is true.
But not a random dragon aspect. You're still going to get fairy dragons.
Yes. Or Bone Drakes.
Or more Bone Drakes. Or whatever, Primordial Drakes. Which, by the way, shout out to Primordial Drake.
Primordial Drake is a pretty good
card. Most disrespected card in the game. Never mention it. Everyone plays it. Everyone and their mother plays Primordial Drake. Such a good card. No one ever talks about it. Shout out to you, Primordial Drake. I noticed the work you're putting in. Ungoro Legend, in my book. One that I had an idea of would be, instead of buffing, also debuffing. So, for example, give a minion -1/-1.
The general idea exists, although it usually is only to attack and only temporary.
Yes.
Because that exists a lot, like the Curse of Weakness, which can really fuck you up, to be honest, because it lasts through 2 turns, basically.
Exactly.
There is stuff like the Shrinkmeister from GVG, where he gives a minion -3 attack, it might have been 2, like this turn only. That kind of stuff. There was another mage spell that did that for everything. The Pints Potion.
That's a priest spell, right?
Yes. Did I say?
You said mage.
Oh, sorry. I meant priest. I meant priest. Yeah.
Combination with Shadow Horror. But just debuffing, right? Give it -2/-2.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a good and sensible idea. I mean,
and if the minion is at like 1 health, it dies.
Obviously. Right. I mean, other card games that are similar to Hearthstone, I mean, Magic the Gathering comes to mind. Yeah. Do have effects like that.
I don't know if they would refer to it as a debuff and having a keyword or something, or if they would just be like, reduce attack by 2 and deal 2 damage.
Give an enemy minion -1/-1.
Yeah, either that or the other way around.
But, well, first of all,
or just give any
reducing health and dealing damage are different things.
Well, but it doesn't really matter in that case.
Well, if it dies, it does.
If it dies, it does.
If it survives, it does because
if it then caps at the reduced one, then yes, it does matter.
Yes. So yeah, debuffing definitely in general an interesting mechanic, not necessarily just for legends, but of course also usable for a legend. That would actually also be something you could probably do, like Battle Cry. Give all enemy minions -1/-1 or something like that. Something that's like a big debuff all around. I'm not sure.
That'd be pretty good
Is there
against.
no actual straight up debuffs, permanent debuffs in the game at all?
I don't think so. There's stuff that exchanges shit, like
and there's stuff that sets it to a set value.
Yeah, like Terram.
Yeah, exactly.
Something for Terram.
But no actual minus.
There might be. There's some where it destroys all and replaces them with 1/1s or 2/2s or whatever.
Yeah, and then there's set its attack to 1, stuff like that. But set its attack equal to its health.
Transform it into a 5/5 or a 1/1.
Yeah, but I don't think there's any that actually just straight up say give it minus.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think there's even anything that gives it like +1 -1 or something like that, where it changes one set for another partially.
No, I don't think they exist.
Which would also be another effect that would be interesting.
Yeah,
like,
it would be possible.
Oh yeah, give it like +3 -2.
Yeah.
And then you have to see, like, you can kill an opposing minion with it, or you can buff your own.
The -1 to all enemy minions would be really strong against Odd Pally.
Yes.
Because it just killed all the dudes.
And if it's a Battlecry Legendary, it's presumably somewhat expensive minion.
Yeah.
Well, at least, like, let's say 6+. That means it's not something that would really hamper the early game too much.
Exactly.
And also,
and it's justifiable difference from just dealing 1 damage to all because it ignores Divine Shield.
It ignores Divine Shield, and it also can sometimes just, if your opponent has a threatening board, it can be really good. Like Spreading Plague. They have a bunch of 1/5s.
Yeah.
Now they have 0/4s. 0/4s are basically useless till they buff them again.
Exactly. So 0/4. But you still gotta get through them because they got count.
They're still a good defensive tool, but they can't really deal damage to you.
They're all shield bearers, right?
They won't chip into the damage on your minions because sometimes you have to hit them twice, that kind of stuff. So,
Spreading Plague is a hell of a card.
Yes.
That's true. Do you have something else?
I had another idea, which was to maybe play more off of some of the numbers that they haven't really played off too much before. Like, an interesting attack that I thought would be something along the lines of heal your hero equal to your enemy's health or something like that.
Alright.
So, in that case, if you're in a position where you're both really low, it barely helps you.
Yeah.
But if you're like in a really strongly losing position because your opponent in the deck was way more aggressive than yours,
heal you almost to full, right?
That can get you back a lot.
Yeah, that's true.
So that would specifically be a control thing, obviously.
Yeah.
But similar ideas could exist in other directions as well.
That would be a really strong card.
Deal damage to your opponent equal to your missing life or something like that.
Oh, that seems almost too strong.
Yeah, because then in the late game there's almost always an auto win, but
yeah, it's almost winning all the time.
But stuff in that direction. I'm not presenting any final designs, it's just ideas. Yeah. Specifically the healing one I thought was intriguing because for a control deck, if that's like on like a 5 or 6 drop, like if you can just control long enough to outlast the initial burst of aggro, or maybe even for a combo deck, to outlast the initial aggro, you can then get back to a more stable position to actually
be good.
Engage in your late game.
Right. I don't know if that would make combo too strong, because combo already is pretty strong.
Yeah, that's of course, that's always something you have to consider. And especially if it's like a battle cry, then you'll have the problem where in your Shadowwalk deck, for example, it'll just happen again.
Exactly. Shadowwalk will be insane with that. That's true.
And that, of course, also brings you more interesting dilemmas, like, if I deal too much damage now, and I know that in a few turns I'm going to play this card, I'm going to heal less.
Yeah, exactly.
So at that point, damaging your opponent might actually be something that you might try to not do as much as you normally would, and you'd rather maybe engage in trading or something.
Just counterintuitive.
Yeah, so, of course, anything that I feel like...
Yeah, definitely not an aggro thing.
Anything that allows you to make counterintuitive choices for them to be beneficial in the end, I think is a good, or at least interesting design. Yeah, because, of course, I could say, like, what could the new legendary be? Have it be a 9 mana 10/10, or like an 8 mana 7/7 with charge. But it's like, whatever, right? That's just a normal card.
That's every other card.
Like, we don't need more of those, like, King Crush, Max, Nut Type Legends.
Don't think we're going to get much
stats
much
plus
charge
keyword.
Anyway. It's mostly Rush these days.
Of course, but, like, generally the idea of, like, oh yeah, here's some stats, here's one or two keywords, that's...
One more thing that I had an idea of is, like you said, to play on stuff that they do, but not that much. Have maybe a specific keyword for the sap/shadow step effect, like return a minion to opponent's hand or your own hand.
Okay.
So have some more stuff that does that. Maybe not only rogue or wise, but aside from the brewmasters, the pandas.
Yes.
More widespread. It could be like a keyword like reload or something.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's going to similar territory within Rage, where it's like you could say it in 2 or 3 words, and it wouldn't be widespread enough, at least at first, to justify having a keyword.
Yeah, like return a minion to its owner's hand and give it +1/+1, or give it whatever buff or something.
Oh, with a slight buff attached.
Yeah, you can do different stuff with that. Deal 5 damage in return. If it lives, return it to its owner's hand, or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
Because then, for example, you'd even have more of an incentive to do that with stuff like chain gangs, right? Play the chain gang, and next turn you return one. For like, you can also do the cost thing, right? Return it costs 2 more, it costs 2 less.
Yes, that would definitely be interesting. I mean, the return it for 2 more already exists. It's called Freezing Trap.
Yeah, and the return for 2 less is a shadow step.
It's shadow step, yes. So,
but that as that thing as an effect, as a keyword, which could be reload.
I'm still not sure necessarily about the keyword part, but the mechanic itself being more used seems like an interesting idea.
Yeah,
sure.
But if you're gonna do it more, then you might as well use a keyword for it. If you're gonna have like an expansion where that happens a lot, and you need a new keyword to be introduced,
yeah,
just do that. So that's the ideas. Is that it?
I think that is it for now.
So if you got any more ideas for new keywords, new mechanics, or stuff like maybe if you design specific cards, drop a link in the comments and we'll look at them. If they're really good, we'll give them a shout out in the podcast, or maybe even in a Hearthstone report.
Yeah, we can definitely do like a special Hearthstone report episode in one of those news light weeks where we maybe talk less about what's actually currently in the game and maybe ideas. Yeah,
we can do that. So if you have interest in that, let us know in the comments. Any opinions, we'll be glad to discuss those. And before we hop into the second topic, we got a fact of the week coming up. What is your fact of the week, man?
My fact of the week is that in the I'm not sure if you've heard of this movie, but it's called Back to the Future.
I've heard of it, never seen it.
Yeah, but it's kind of famous, and
I've gotten the gist of it through cartoons like
and one of its more recognizable items is, of course, the DeLorean, the car that they use.
It's a car, okay.
It's a car, yes. And originally, apparently, in the script, it was intended to be a refrigerator.
Okay.
That they used to travel through time.
Why wouldn't it be a refrigerator?
Because then kids would imitate it and die inside of refrigerators.
But you don't want kids to be entering cars by themselves either, right?
Well, no, but apparently that was something that was less realistic to happen to a great...
It seems like the thing with cars is that it would be more believable in the actual movie, because who would ever... Like, it seems like a better hiding spot to be a fridge, because who would ever enter a refrigerator, right?
Yes.
So a car, someone might accidentally get in there and then travel to die.
But,
isn't that what happens?
Well, no, it's, no. But, so, that was one of those things that, you know, when you read, like, fun facts or something like that, that's one that I recently wrote somewhere, read somewhere, and, I thought that was kind of interesting, because apparently the original idea for the script was to have a refrigerator, and then
kids don't die in refrigerators, man. But like they get in there, it's like, I'm playing Typo. You know what? It's getting cold in here. Let me get back out. It's not like you can lock yourself in there, right? You just push the door and it opens.
Apparently, that was a concern. I don't know.
That's bullcrap. I don't believe that for a second. Apparently, yeah, but that's just.
I mean, also the idea with the car is, I think, somewhat cooler, and the fact that it's recognizable at the end. just kind of proves that it was the better choice, like from a marketing standpoint as well. But
apparently, I didn't know it was a car. I just knew there's a time machine there, but I haven't seen the movie. Huge movie Nazi, so it doesn't help me much. My fact of the week is, for my people out on the streets, one important life tip if you're living possibly in one of those areas, the one thing that you should always have on yourself if you are at all in danger of getting in a fight is what? Do you have a guess? The one thing over everything else that you should have for to get an advantage in a fight that might go down on the street.
Well, I mean, a knife?
It's not a weapon.
I suppose so, but...
Because you don't want to be killing somebody. You don't want to bring a gun or anything. The one thing is a mouth guard.
Oh, right.
A mouth guard is huge.
That before, yeah.
It's huge. It's so much more important than any weapon. Like knife or stick or whatever. No. Mouth guard. Hugely important. Gives you huge advantage in fist fights. Because it helps not only, again, to protect your teeth and your mouth, but the concussion stuff. It absorbs blows that you take to your head. That's why it's important to wear it during contact sports for concussion prevention. So, if you happen to get in fights on the street, which I don't recommend, but if it happens, man, carry a mouth guard. Don't waste time carrying a gun and possibly getting arrested for carrying a gun. Don't be stupid. So, carry a mouth guard. Carry a mouth guard. That's my fact of the week, and it's actually a helpful fact of the week.
Yeah, too. I like the idea that some thugs come up to someone and they're just starting to frantically go through their pockets, pull that mouth guard, put some mouth guard.
Gotta have a mouth guard. If you know it's going down too, right? If you're preparing, bring that damn mouth guard, man. It's gonna help you a lot. It's gonna help you out a lot. Fact of the week. Thank me later when you want to fight. What's your second topic, man?
Well, the second topic is something that I believe also you suggested at one point, and that was the idea. I think the initial premise was if you could have three historical figures be immortal, which would you choose?
That's the question I asked.
The discussion in general is just which would you choose, independently of the number necessarily.
What people would you choose from history or of all time to be immortal? Immortal meaning that they cannot die.
Yes, I think that's commonly understood.
Or at least can't die of natural causes.
Interesting. Because if they can only not die of natural causes, then
they can still be assassinated.
Then someone who there might be other people who would be interested in assassinating them would then thereby be a worse choice because they might still die more likely than others that maybe are more universally beloved.
Yeah, right. So, do you have a specific name?
I don't have a specific name necessarily, but I have like two categories of people that I'm thinking about.
Yeah, first one would be probably scientists, right?
Scientists, yes.
Tesla, Einstein.
Yes.
Newton.
Yeah, of course. I can name off scientists. Yeah. I was like...
Those minds.
If there's like one or two that stand out, I can't really... Specifically, of course, there's always... Because there's always like this list, right? And you would never know which specific one to necessarily pick.
Yeah, you want some geniuses, right? Some real geniuses. I'd take Newton. Even though the thing is, I don't know how well Newton would do these days. Well, the thing is, we're considering that we're not bringing him back in 2018, but he's always been there. He's always stuck around the whole time, right?
Yeah,
Same for Da Vinci.
I still think that Tesla could have done some great stuff, but then again, he was also a bit insane.
He's a bit crazy, but who isn't?
Yeah, but I'm not sure if in the long term he would do more good or
the thing is
more crazy.
They're all kind of insane. You have to be insane, a little bit insane.
Yeah, but that's like I feel like about him that's like more of a thing that people point out than about others.
But it's the same thing with Newton and Da Vinci.
Yeah, I mean, of course, you are not like the average guy, but also a scientific genius.
You gotta be a little bit insane to be that way. Who else other than the scientists? What was the other group that you were thinking about?
The other group would be I'm trying to figure out the best way to title it without being too specific, but I'm gonna say leaders, like
politicians.
Yeah, but I specifically didn't want to say politicians, but like someone who could, like, lead a country or maybe even, like, a bigger chunk of population. So
you're talking about people like Martin Luther King?
Sure.
For example,
like,
Gandhi.
Someone who could lead and be a good person at the same time, because... the whole politics thing.
Yeah, most leaders,
kind of bullshit. And
it's kind of either-or thing. Yeah.
I always say the best political system, theoretically, would be something that's controlled by, like, an absolute monarch type person, but they are also always having the best interests of people in mind.
But that, of course, doesn't
that exact combination doesn't happen.
That never happens.
But if you could just pick someone from history who's known to be a benevolent ruler, or to at least have good ideas for that kind of stuff, and also is capable of actually executing them...
I just don't think that exists.
Then having someone... with that potential to be immortal, because once your society...
I'll take people like King and all, like the really good ones, to be immortal and all, and to continue doing good work, but never as like a unquestioned, almost monarch type leader.
Well, okay, doesn't necessarily have to be unquestioned, but the idea is that I would... Because if like the people we chose to be immortal, I mean, not that it would actually happen, and of course it's a hypothetical.
Yeah, I'm sure it's all hypothetical.
But if those were like leaders, like political leaders or whatever, and that would bring a certain degree of stability to our world that we maybe currently don't have, that would then let us focus less on stuff like war and conflict and more on progress, specifically scientific progress and societal progress.
I don't know if it will work that way. It might go the exact other way.
Because most scientific progress was made during war, I know.
This reminds me a lot of 1984. Big Brother is immortal. He's always watching you. The party will rule forever. The
idea that, of course, a lot of scientific progress happened because of war and to fight the wars kind of goes counter to that, but I would hope that in a quote-unquote perfect world, scientific progress will be like the one thing that you got.
I don't know if there would be leaders and like superiors and inferiors in the perfect world.
Well,
I don't think so.
But someone's got to oversee the fact that it all moves smoothly.
Do they? Well, what if everyone was just a good person?
Yeah, of course. But
right? Wouldn't that be a better world than a world where there is a hierarchy?
Well, yes, but that is one thing that, through this concept, would be harder to achieve, because that's something you have to work on for generations and generations.
I think that will be easier to achieve than having a somewhat divine leader to always be humble and immortal and a generally good person. I think that's literally impossible. I don't know. I don't see it. I don't see it.
Because the idea is that if you have if we could use people to like stabilize the system a bit more, then we could potentially use that to further other parts other than maybe the technology for warfare. Like
it might be a little bit of bias because I'm really anti-authority most of the time, but I don't think that's ever gonna happen with anyone. It doesn't matter who it is.
Because the thing is, if we make scientists immortal, or like specific scientists, of course, not all of them, but then the question is like,
all of them, like Mengele.
Yeah. See, but the idea is then like say we have like a handful of scientists that we make immortal. Yeah. Like, how much difference are they gonna make? We already have a lot of smart scientists today, and some of them might not have the exact insight that they had. But
yes,
I'm trying to see in our current system what impact a few individual scientists extra would make.
But what if like Tesla and Einstein had been alive until now, over the last 100 years? I think we wouldn't be in a much progressed place.
Okay, that might be true, because especially back then when they lived, and more importantly for this scenario, I suppose, died.
Yeah.
There was not as much of a general science around.
They were ahead of their time.
But I wonder, again, if in a more stable system, maybe that could be further independent of whom the names of the scientists are. Like, no matter whom it is that progresses the science, as long as the system around it supports it. And with the scientists, it seems like at some point you reach a point where those individuals are not going to be more useful than, like, the average top-tier scientist, if that makes any sense. There's going to be others that are on their level at some point, at the very least.
Well, yeah, but then if we can make those immortal, then we'll make those immortal.
But the idea is not to have a limited number, right? So, and to choose basically right now.
Okay, but choose right now. Okay, give me 3 names.
I'm not saying...
if you're gonna go for a political leader and you want to assign all unlimited power to, you need to know exactly that they will never abuse that power, which isn't the case for anyone ever.
Yeah, of course, but also like the fact that, oh hey, you got a lot of power and you're immortal.
Yeah, no, never.
Yeah, ultimate power corrupts ultimately, but
exactly.
and I mean, but scientist seems like the obvious answer.
Yeah,
but it also seems like it would not be as impactful as you might imagine.
Well, but it would be better. And a lot of other things could make it a lot worse. I mean, if we're just gonna be like, oh, just something that's convenient for you and that you would like, I'm taking some people in my personal interest, right?
Yeah, of course.
I'll take first of all myself.
Yeah, of course.
And I'll take like Bill Walsh or whatever football person I want.
I like how you instantly went to famous football people like after yourself. It's like no, like it's like myself. Skips over family. Famous football person.
Well, okay, whatever, right? But
yeah,
like people that I value, like that's my personal interest. I want that person.
Of course, I mean like the other instant idea you might have is like, oh yeah, entertainers, like musicians or whatever. It's like but it's like
But that's already proven to go down after a while, right? Like we've seen it in people like Bon Jovi.
That's true.
Like, they're not gonna keep making good music forever. It starts dipping. So, we don't need a time longer than a lifetime to know that that's the case.
Yeah.
I'd probably stay away from entertainers.
Yeah, of course. Again, also because if the idea generally is, I suppose, to make the best possible, to improve the world as much as possible on whichever level. And entertainment isn't going to do much to that.
How about Jesus?
Did he do anything special?
I think he was a good people person. I think it was pretty. I
mean, the problem is most of what we know about Jesus is very overhyped.
Yeah, I know. There's a Family Guy cutaway for that. Yep, exactly. But I mean, he was a electric person, man. He had some charisma.
Well,
people person. That's a fact. And an interesting historical figure.
Yes. I don't know. It's really a tough question.
Yeah,
I think if this were to be a real scenario, we should not be the ones making the choice.
Oh, who should be? Oh, I want to be the one making that choice.
Someone more educated?
Oh, I want to be the one making that choice first.
Specifically on history?
No. I want to be the one making that choice. I trust myself in making that choice more than anyone else. But that's me. But who would you choose, though? In the comments, let us know. Any historical figure that is obvious to you, or anyone in your personal interest, even. And give us a good reason, though. Why? Why should that person be immortal? And, of course, would you choose yourself first? That's always the question, right? And is it even eligible?
I feel like if you get the chance, most people, well, at least those that are interested in the concept of immortality would instantly choose themselves.
Probably, right?
Because human beings are inherently selfish.
Yeah, exactly. I'll choose myself.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, I'm not gonna say that I wouldn't, right?
You totally would.
I totally would.
Totally would. Everyone would. So, let us know in the comments who else you would choose. Thank you for listening, but before we go, we gotta leave you on a high note.
And a bad music pun.
Really bad musical pun.
It's not that good of a pun.
It doesn't matter. It's our pun. What's your fact of the week? Song of the week. I'm sorry.
My song of the week is I Want It All by Queen.
I want a doll.
It all.
Oh, I want it all. And now I know what it is.
I want a doll. No,
yeah, that's what it sounded like to me. I want a doll. Why do you want a doll? Cool.
Well, I mean, look at Freddie Mercury and then consider whether or not he would have wanted a doll.
Yeah, he probably wanted a doll. He probably had one too. Maybe several ones. Yeah. Okay, song.
I was recently reminded that it exists. So I thought
It exists. It's okay. It's nothing special.
Yeah.
I don't have it in my playlist. I might download it at one point.
Yeah, because that's exactly the thing for me. That was like, oh, I don't have this. I kind of like this. It's not okay. Outstanding song, but I have to add
If I can ever be bothered to go out of my way to download it, I'll have it too. But right now I don't. It's okay. My song of the week, and this might be back to back. I'm not sure. I'm not exactly sure what I picked last week, but my song of the week is "You Can't Keep Johnny Down" by They Might Be Giants. Did I pick They Might Be Giants last week?
Either the last week or the week before. I'm not sure.
Yeah, either one. I picked "Bird Lost in Your Soul" recently. It might have been last week or 2 weeks ago. I'm not exactly certain.
It doesn't even matter.
But "Can't Keep Johnny Down" is my new song of the week. I like the music video. It's really, really cool. And I got to appreciate that song more over the last few days. Listen to that today in the gym. It's not exactly a gym song, but I did it anyway. And it's pretty good. I like it. Can't say nothing about it. I like the song. That's my song of the week. Came to my mind spontaneously, so I thought, why not use it? So there you go. That's the Trash Talk Podcast. Hope you're having a good Saturday. And like the video if you happen to enjoy. Subscribe to TrashcanTV and check out our other channels also if you're interested in football or nerdy stuff, whatever it is. And we're gonna see you next time, JJ.
That's it.
That's it.